Today I've got a couple lights from Olight, the SR1 Baton and the S2R Baton. These lights are both very similar, so I thought I would do them in a single video. Here are the packaging that they come in. Plastic case, you can throw them out, easy if you're not going to need them afterwards. And the case has some highlights of the brightnesses and such on the lights. Not too much excitement for the cases, so I'll get these out of the way. The things that come in the case, there is a little velvety pouch. I guess you could put the light in this if you wanted, but otherwise you can just put little trinkets or whatever you want in, and then it cinches up there. Also comes with power cable for charging it, and a lanyard, and the instruction manual. That's what comes with it. The lights themselves, like I said, they're very similar, other than one big feature, the size and the battery. So I'm going to go over them together. Let me go over just the basic makeup of these. On the back, there is the charging spot, because these charge magnetically. You put it on the charger. Charger is green when it's not charging. When you put it on the charger and there's some room to be charged in the battery, the light on the charger will turn red. And then when the battery is fully charged, that light will turn green. The charger is magnetic. The charger is not great for standing up because of the way it's designed. So maybe it's kind of good for sitting on a table, but not great for vertically. Up here, there's a little spot for the lanyard to go through. The tail cap comes off, and of note, when you get these in here, there's this little yellow piece that's going to be there to stop the battery from accidentally discharging before you buy it. So make sure you take that out and discard that. The batteries, they both come with batteries, rechargeable batteries. 18650 in the case of the S2R, and an RCR123 in the case of the S1R. The 18650, it's a 3200 milliamp hour, and of note with these, the batteries go in backwards from what you would expect, with the positive terminal at the rear. There is an O-ring here. They're IPX8 rated, as pretty much every light in the world is. Forward, there's the knurling and the pocket clip. I will make the same complaint of every Olight pocket clip that I do in every video. This little notch right here, they really just need to go away with, because when I put this in thick pants with the thick pockets, thick material, I have trouble getting this pocket clip over that material. I don't think the pocket clip is, or I don't think the light is going to come out of your pocket if they get rid of this thing. I don't think it's adding that much. I think it just makes it harder to use in thicker material pants, so I do wish they would get rid of that. The pocket clips are removable and reversible. It just pulls right off here. The S2R, not so useful in a reversible way, because the pocket clip will be sticking off the head of the light. The S1R, however, you could put it, and the pocket clip could face this way if you wanted to have it tail up in your pocket. That'd be an option. Otherwise, it just pulls off and back on the other way. Forward here, both lights are controlled by the same little button here. It's a little rubberized button. The button, I will say, when you pull it out of your pocket in the dark, the button can be a little bit hard to feel where it is. If you're kind of feeling around the outside of it, it can be a little hard. Something you can do is maybe put the pocket clip so that it's right next to it. So you find the pocket clip and then you know that the button is right there. But otherwise, the button is so smooth, as is the rest of it, that it can be a little bit hard to find. So something to note there. Or you can just put the pocket clip over a nice smooth surface, and again, just a little bit over from it. Up on the front here, there's blue anodizing, a nice little look around the button, and then blue anodizing up here around the head. Inside there is the TIR lens, total internal reflection lens. So you can see it's not very deep. It gives this light, it's not super floody, it's not super throwy. It gives, I'd say this is kind of a down the street kind of light. I'll get into the throw in a little bit. But with that lens, it's kind of a good mixture of the two. And other than that, the S1R is constructed the same, and it also comes with, there's that piece in there, don't forget to take that out, otherwise it's not going to work. And it comes with the Olight RCR123. Now, to make this comparison a little bit simpler, I made this little table here to help kind of compare the two. Like I said, these lights are both very similar in a lot of respects. The price is pretty close, 65 versus 73. The batteries are obviously different, RCR123 versus an 18650. The length, not quite twice the length for the S2R. The throw, they're both about the same throw. Let me give my disclaimer here because everyone yells at me every time I don't explain this. The rated throw on these, 145 meters for the S1R, 153 meters for the S2R. You are not going to be meaningful lighting things up at 150 meters. You might get a little inkling of light down there, but you're not going to be able to actually see anything. The way I convert the rated throw into a meaningful throw is I simply change the units from meters to feet without doing any calculation. So 145 meters becomes 145 feet, same with this over here, and that gives them both roughly a throw of around 50 yards. This is about 3 houses down the street kind of light that you're going to be able to light some stuff on, and not a ton farther than that. Like I said, it's kind of a good mixture of flood and throw. And then the lows and highs, 0.5 lumens on the low end and 900 versus 1020 on the high end. And realistically, you're not going to be able to tell a huge difference in the perceived brightness between the two of these. So when I looked at these, before I got into looking at this a little bit further, I thought, well, why would you want to carry the bigger light over the smaller light when all of these things are pretty close to the same and you're going to have a bigger, heavier light in your pocket? Well, the difference is the run times, because the S2R has that bigger battery, more power, and here's where you get that advantage. Outputs, half a lumen. The S1R does it for 15 days versus 60 days. 12 lumens, 33 hours versus 120 hours. Then they start to differ a little bit. 60 lumens versus 120, 4.5 versus 13 hours. 600 lumens versus 1020. The S1R actually has more outputs, and both of these, when they get up in their higher outputs, they will ramp down after either a minute and a half in the case of the S1R or 2 minutes in the case of the S2R. And they'll go down to 300 lumens and 500 lumens, and you can see that they will do both of those for a different amount of time. Again, a lot longer in the S2R. So the big difference you're getting between the two of these is the battery life. You're going to carry a little bit bigger light, but for that, you're going to get a lot longer run time out of it. So it just kind of depends on your need. If you're somewhere where you can recharge these a lot and you're not using it a ton during the day, the S1R might be fine for you. If you are going to be getting a ton of use out of it and don't want to have to recharge it more, then maybe the S2R is the light for you, but all other things being equal, they're pretty similar. Looking at the user interface between the two of these is exactly the same, except that the S1R has a few more modes. So I'm just going to use the S2R because, like I said, they're the same. Let me slide this in so we have a point of reference of what levels we're going through. Starts at a Moonlight Mode. The way you get to that is you just hold the button down and it goes into that half lumen Moonlight Mode. And then to get between each of the next brightnesses, you just hold it down and it will ramp up. So half lumen, 12 lumens, 120 lumens, 500 lumens, and then you double click to get to the turbo. Double click, there's the 1020, and after 2 minutes it will ramp down to 500 lumens. Turn it off. It has mode memory for everything except for the turbo, so this will turn back on to 500, and then I can double click and we'll go back to the turbo. From off, if you're in one of the lower modes, say you're in the 12, you can always get to the turbo by double clicking. So there's the turbo. And then something else you can get, there's a strobe, and you get to that by triple clicking from any brightness. And there's the strobe, and it'll turn it back off. There are 2 timers. There's a 3-minute timer and a 6-minute timer. So when the light is on, you get to the 2 timers by click and hold. Click and hold. So that's two flashes. That means this is the 9-minute timer, and you can set it, and after 9 minutes it'll just turn off. And then click and hold, 2 flashes, click and hold, 1 flash. That's the 3-minute timer. So set it, and after 3 minutes, if you want to use it as a night light or whatever other reason, you might have a timer for 3 or 9 minutes. I'm not sure. Let me know if you have any ideas, but it will turn off. There's also a lockout mode. If you're going to have this in your bag or somewhere else where you don't want it to come on accidentally, you just hold the button down. It will turn on to the moonlight and turn back off, and now it is locked. You can push it down, and no matter what, it will not come on. To get it out of the lock mode, can you just hold it down, flashes, and there you're back out of it, and you can go back through the brightnesses. The brightnesses actually will cycle through everything except for the moonlight and the turbo. So low, medium, high, to get to the moonlight again, off and long press to get to the turbo, double click, strobe is triple click, and back off. So that's it for the user interface, pretty straightforward. Another feature that these lights have, because the magnetic piece on the back here is there for the magnetic charging, like this, it also can be used to mount to things. If you are working under the hood of your car or anywhere else where you might want to mount this light on something metal, you can do that. All sorts of uses for that. Also, one other note, the charging piece on this, it's not going to really stay sitting up. The one on the batons, the S10R Baton and the S30 Baton, they have a mounting piece that actually suction cups to the desk, and so you can leave this on your nightstand with those, and if you want to just come up and grab it off, you can. This one is going to be more adept to just sitting down and letting it charge that way, but not so much to letting it stand. It will stand, but it's not going to be stable like that. It's not going to stay because it's just this little piece. So the big difference between these and the batons is really just picking which version of them you like. Otherwise, the lights are fairly similar, and you can check out my review on those. But otherwise, that's about it for the S1R Baton and the S2R Baton. They're nice little compact lights, still put out a ton of brightness, but in a nice compact size or a long-lasting, relatively compact size. So check them out. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you've got them. Till then, I will catch you next time.